Today is the 9th of October, and we call this early autumn. You can see that the pine needles are turning yellow, the fruit are ripe, the zelkovas are red, maples are changing color by the day. So you can see what is happening. And it's a sad time of the year. Many of the maples have lost their leaves. So I'm taking the chance to wear my Hawaiian shirt before it gets too cold. So let me take you around to show you a very specific job that needs to be done in the autumn time, and that is cleaning the pine needles. Come the end of September and October, you may not believe it, but I get about 3 or 4 telephone calls every day, and I get about 10 emails and text messages saying that, oh, my pine is dying because all the needles are turning yellow. But don't despair. I have done so many videos over the years, and they're all on the website, and yet people will still not believe that this is quite normal for pine. Look at this great big pine. This is a very old pine. If you see the thickness of the trunk, this is supposed to be a 150-year-old pine. I imported it from Japan in 2007. And I'm still in the process of wiring and dewiring. And look at the needles. Every autumn, you get all these needles like this. And most people would think that this pine is dying. And this is not the only one. Let's move to any other pine. The black pines don't have such a problem. This is my old black pine. They have some needle drop from the old needles, but it's not as pronounced as the 5-needle or the Japanese white pine. Look at this tree, for instance. This is a massive, great big tree. And look at it. Look at it. Absolutely covered with yellow needles. And let's go to the commercial trees. Whenever we get a chance, my colleagues here will clean the needles on the pines. So this one is in the process of being cleaned. This has been cleaned. This has been cleaned. But there are quite a few that have not been cleaned. So you see the difference between the ones that have been cleaned and the ones that have not been cleaned. Look at this. This was done only 2 days ago, and it's as good as new. Absolutely as good as new. But if you don't clean the needles, that's what it looks like. So this is what we're going to do. And I'll show you. It's not rocket science. It's very, very simple to do. So I'm going to get Steve to show you how to do it. Now, if you come here and look at these needles here and a few cones. I dare say we need to check if there are any seeds in here to save. But this amount of needles came from just one pine. Can you bring that pine, please, Steve? Because I want to show you how much comes out of just one tree. That is what comes off this one tree. So I'm going to get Steve to do another one, and we will show you the exact process of how it is cleaned. So we usually put it on a wheelbarrow. These, by the way, are the white pine seeds, and they germinate very freely. So all he's doing is running his fingers through. No need for using tweezers or whatever. How long do you think it takes? 5 minutes?
About 5 minutes
5
or
minutes
so.
to do one tree. And this is the best time to do it, about October time. But because we have so many trees, we continue doing it right up to early November too. But autumn is the time to clean the needles up. So it's just rubbing the needles off. And whatever you do, don't be, tempted to take the tree out and repot it and cut the roots. This is not the time of the year to do it. You've got to wait till February in which to do it. So you see how easy it is to do? So let's remind you again, it's the 2nd and 3rd year needles that drop. So each year they produce new needles. And again, if you prune the candles off or just prune the tips of the green, the trees do bud back.
I just wonder what those 5 wires, what way it is, you know.
So while Steve is doing it, I will come back. Talking of the different types of pine, it's most pronounced on the Japanese white pine or the 5-needle pine. The black pine don't suffer so much, and neither do the Scots pine. Let's go to this area of the black pine. You see, this is a batch of black pine, Japanese black pine, Pinus thunbergii, and they don't have a lot of needles cast on this. And the same with the Scots pine. The Scots pines have some needles that shed, but not a lot. See, this is a Bouverensis, there are hardly any brown needles on this one. So it applies to most of them. That's a Scots pine as well. And very few brown needles on that.
What one?
This is a 5-needle pine, so this is not bad. I say bad, it's quite low. So there you go. This is a rather rare variety of 5-needle pine, and it's called a variegated 5-needle pine because if you look carefully at the needles, it's green and yellow, and it's predominantly yellow, so it's a lovely golden color. So this has been cleaned, so they also shed the needles, and look at the brown needle on this. So this is just a question of cleaning the needles, taking the needles out, and it will be as good as this one. This one has been cleaned, that one has been cleaned. These two still need to be cleaned. So don't forget to do this task. And for goodness sake, please do not ring Herons Bonsai asking me what to do with the pines, because your pines are certainly not dying. Let's go back to Steve and see how he's getting on. Here we are, and in just about 5 minutes Steve has cleaned one tree. So you see again, this amount of needles have come from 2 pines, so it's good as new. There you go. So this is part of the process of cleaning the autumn needles that especially happen with the white pines. The other pines like the Scots pines and the Mugo pines are not so prone to shedding their old needles. So here we have Steve and Tracy cleaning a pine which is going to a customer. And in case they think the tree is dying, we're just going to clean every single needle off. The tools they're using are little tweezers. You'll find that is very useful to take the needles off. And look at that wheelbarrow full of yellow needles. I always remind people that when you go and walk in a pine forest, what do you find on the forest floor? Pine needles. So if you see pine needles on your white pine, do not panic. Look at the needles here. Look at the needles here. That one hasn't been cleaned yet. This one has been cleaned. What a difference it makes. It's like new. And yet if you look at ones which have the yellow needles on, you think that the tree is dying. Lovely time of the year.